What's going on? Welcome to part 2 of Project New Doors for the Blazer. So if you watched episode 1, you've seen that I got the door panels that I got from the junkyard cut out, and I started mocking up and tweaking and cutting and getting my concept or my idea put together with the wood insert that I'm putting into this next project. So we're going to move along with that, so stick around. Okay, so like I said before in the last episode, once I got the piece of wood that I'm using, figured out how I was going to have everything laid out, all my angles cut, all my corners, curves, everything else cut that I wanted to get into it, and get the general shape and idea of what I want, then it's just basically copy and paste. So I got another piece of wood laid out here, cut out. I've got it traced out. So it will be an exact replica of this one. So basically, get it cut out. I got a little more trimming on that other door to do, and I'll be able to drop this in. Like I said, I'm going to block it up, get it everything flush and the way I like it, and get it at the height that I want, and then I'll glue and screw it in. Once that's set, I'll flip the doors over. We'll chop mat the inside of it. We'll resin it up. We'll make it strong on the inside and on the outside. So I am going to get to cutting on this one and getting this one made up. All right, easy peasy. Got this one cut out. Now this is the first one I did on the top. And there's the second one. So now this one is actually going to be my driver's door. So we need to flip it over. And don't worry about this. I ain't going to see any of this. And just like that, that one's done. We'll get it mocked up here with some reins, and that way I get an idea of where everything sits on it. But just like that, copy and paste, basically. So I got this one laid out here, everything marked. Like I said, the exact opposite of that one and this one. So now I'm going to pull that other panel out, and we're going to get it trimmed up. And if I get it done soon enough, we'll start test fitting this one. It is about almost 8 o'clock, so I'm starting to lose daylight now. But I've definitely gotten more done than what I figured I would get done today. So if I'm able to get this done and get this test fitted in there, basically I'm down to blocking these off, getting these mocked up, and then glued and screwed, and then I'll be ready to start throwing some resin. So see if we can get that other panel finished trimmed. Okay, so I did get that cut out. Hopefully I'm pretty close as the last one. If not, it's not that big a deal. And right here is why you need to wear your safety glasses, because it heats this plastic up really quick and it throws these chunks of plastic off. And that's what I got, was a hot piece of plastic in my eye, and it hurt for a second. So like I said before, always wear your damn safety goggles, safety glasses, whatever you call them. So get all these burrs off of here the best we can. It's gonna have to be perfect because you're not gonna see them, but anyways. So let's grab the new panel, see how it fits. All right, it is a go. It damn near fits perfectly. I got a little more of a gap here than what I wanted, but when I cut around this part of it here on both doors, I actually just eyeballed it. But like I said, it's not going to be a big deal, because once I stretch some fleece across that, start hitting it with resin, I'll be able to take care of that shape. So yeah, it's a perfect fit. So basically I'm to the point now where I could start blocking these up or shimming them out or whatever. Well, I've still got to cut all my holes out, which that's not a big deal, but I will get that done before I start going ahead and getting those in there the way I want them. But with that being said, we're going to wrap it up tonight. I'm losing darkness. It is now after 8 o'clock. It is April 28th. So I'm a little ahead of where I expected to be at this point, because last 3 years I've been on the damn Slamology crunch. Last year I actually finished up just about a week before Slam, which was still too long. There's still not enough time in my opinion, so I didn't figure I would be at this point till next week, honestly, between working on the AC delete and bouncing back and forth with these. So I'm ahead of schedule. That's what I like. That's where I want to stay at. So we're going to wrap it up tonight, and if it's not raining tomorrow, we'll be back at it. So we're back at it here the next day. When I left off yesterday, you know, I got both of these two sections done, as far as the way they're going to lay out inside the panel. So now what I'm working on here is there's a couple spots in the panel where this lays, just because of the shape of the panel and this being flat, that there's a couple places of the wood panel that actually sticks up a little higher than the plastic. So what I'm working on here is I'm gonna sand some of this down and see if I can't knock some of that down. So when I stretch resin, or not resin, when I stretch fleece, I don't have a spot sticking up. So I'm going to do, my goal here tonight is to get these sanded down, get all my holes knocked out of them, and then maybe get one set in a panel and start getting it epoxied. I'd like to start stretching from fleece tonight too, but so far so good. We haven't had no rain, but rain is in the forecast and it's on its way. So I'm going to try and get as much done as I can on these before we get some rain. Okay, so this is where I'm at. I got those holes knocked out. A couple of them I had trouble with. Don't fault me, but that damn thing jumped real bad on me. But that's not a big deal. You ain't gonna see that when the mids are in there anyways. So I got those knocked out. I got it sanded down just for shits and giggles and set it in here, and kind of hard to do it one-handed here, but as you can see, this is where I did some sanding. I wanted to knock this edge down some so this flows smooth, because like I said, I'm going to stretch the fleece from here to tie this in. So I just threw it in here just to see what it looks like. So it's starting to look better. I might knock this corner down right here a little bit more. Like I said, that way I didn't got no sharp points when I pull this fleece. So I'm waiting on my neighbor across the road now. He's looking for his router bit set. So I'm going to route this edge down so it's curved too. So like I said, that's why when I stretch this fleece from the bottom up, I don't have a hard corner on this. Try to make it look a little symmetrical. But that's it for this one. That one I ain't even started on yet. But so far so good. The rain is holding out, and if I could keep up this pace over the next few days, I mean, I might be able to knock these out in a week or so. Let's hope so. So waiting for the bits. We're gonna knock these edges down. We'll see what it looks like in. And number 2 is done. Routed, sanded, cut out, and ready to go. So I got this one and that one ready, and I'm going to cut me some shims out of something. I got lots of scrap wood. I'm going to cut some shims and start shimming this out and seeing if I can't get at least one glued in before it gets dark on me. It's a little after 7 o'clock now, and it gets dark here about this, or around here this time of the year, about starts getting dark at 8 or so. So we'll see what I could get done, but those are done, ready to be put in the panels. So I am getting way more done than I anticipated. So let me clear this off and get a panel and see how they go. Okay, I think for once in my life I achieved a goal of finishing something when I wanted to finish it. So I have this shimmed out, shimmed, blocked, whatever you want to call it, and I've started epoxying it. Now I'm going to wait for this to make sure this is good and set up before I even try to move it. So I'll clean everything up since it's getting dark on me here. But wow, yeah, way more done than I thought I would get. So we'll see how this holds. Once I finally do move it, I'll very carefully move it inside, and it'll have a good night and day's worth of curing anyway. And then if it holds good enough, I'll carefully flip this stain over, and I'll start hitting the back side of this with some chalk mat and resin, and I will all around the edges here. This here, I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I cut that. That was where big part of the door pocket was. But a lot of this down through here, I can get some chalk mat in there, 2-3 layers of it, let it set up, and that should make it good and strong from the back side. But yeah, once I get that, then I can come back to this side and start fleecing around my edges till I get it to where I want it. Let it set up, do a little bit of sanding, maybe a little bit of Bondo. And we're going to call it a wraps for tonight. So this one is, I would say, 3/4 of the way done. Now the other one still sitting there. All I got to do is same thing to this one now. So we're going to wrap it up for the night. It's getting dark on me. I got lots of crap to pick up. So we'll pick this back up tomorrow or the next day. Okay, let's fast forward a few days here, and I haven't been able to work on it because of weather and family obligations and work and blah blah blah. So we're back out here today, and this panel has been set with epoxy for a couple days. So I've just got some corners epoxied, and as you can see, it's I can pick it up with just a wood. So that epoxy is holding pretty strong. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip this over, and what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start hitting it from the backside with chop mat. Fiberglass it all in from the backside. That way we know it's good and strong. And then once that sets up, we'll flip it over and we'll start doing some fleece on the front here. But before we do so, I want to do one important thing, and let's test fit this. Okay, I tried to set the camera up the best I could. Really wasn't no good angles here because I can't set it up from this side. But we're going to set this in here. We're going to get it approximately where the door would sit when its door is shut. And it looks like I have plenty of clearance this time. Yeah, it looks like I got plenty of clearance this time. I'm about 3 inches from the seat, which is better than these panels from last year. So we're going to get cranking on these, and these ugly things could go bye-bye. Okay, this is what it's looking at from the back side before I start putting the chop mat in. As you can see, I got some pretty good surfaces here that I could lay some of this down. The only really high part is right here, as you can see. So we'll probably do 3, maybe 4 layers of it there. But I've also got a lot of area where it actually touches the panel completely. So we'll start hitting that with that and see what it looks like. Okay, so I got some of the chop mat prepped already. Ready to go mix up some resin. Now this is what I like to do. I like to use some spray adhesive when I'm doing it, like applications like this. And if you guys watch my build video from last year, remember I did it inside my enclosure as well. When putting down the fiberglass mat or the chop mat or whatever you're using, I like to hit it with the spray adhesive first, put on a pair of gloves, spray it out, lay it down, and get it to where you want it. That way it stays there. That way you're not trying to lay it and spread resin at the same time, which can be a pain in the butt, especially this chop mat, which is easy as these fibers come off and stick to your fingers and whatnot. So I like to do it like this. Get it laid out a little bit right here. Now this ain't going to be the only layer I do here, so this is just to get it started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go mix up some resin, and I'm going to start hitting this, and I will come back at you once I got it resined up. Okay, as you can see, I got the first layer there that I laid down resined up. I mixed it kind of hot, so some of it's setting up, some of it's not. So I'm just coming at you real quick with this part of it, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw some more gloves on now, and I'm going to try and start laying some more of the chop mat down where it's tacky. That way it sticks on me, and it's getting a little bit windy out here, so I don't want too much of it laying there and then blow away before I can get it applied. But that's where we're at. Okay, now I know it doesn't look like it in some spots, but I've got 3 and 4 layers on now. And I'm not laying all these layers in the same direction as I do it. I'm trying to lay it in different directions. That way when it bonds together, there's a little more strength because they're kind of weaved together in different patterns. But this is where I'm at now. I didn't quite get these down just yet because I had just a little bit of resin left, and it started setting up on me. Started becoming jelly like. So we'll let this finish setting up. We'll let this cure all the way, and then we'll see how it's like. I think this is going to be good enough because I've hit it from both sides, especially where those big gaps are. So we'll let that set up and get good and tight, and then start working on the other door panel. I've still got to get the wood insert set in it just yet, but once I get it epoxied in and it sets up, and then I can start the same process with that door again, and then I'll just hit these two with that resin I got mixed up, because I'm not going to mix up another batch of resin, because I mix it up in certain amounts every time. So I know I'm pretty much getting my resin and hardener about the same every time, so I'm not going to try to mix up just a little batch just to get that. So I'll hit that on the next go round. But like I said, we'll see how that goes and see how it sets up, and we'll evaluate it then. All right, so it's the next day here, and as you can see, it is much nicer out. So I think my video cut off there last night. Ran out of storage space, so I had to move some stuff around. But anyways, out here, second day of fiberglass in here, and I epoxied this other panel, the piece in the panel last night when I was finishing up. And now today I'm out here, and I got it chop matted and resined in. Perfect weather for this. It's about 70 degrees right now, and the sun is shining on it just perfectly. So I didn't mix it as hot as yesterday, so I had a little bit more work time, and I was able to get 2 and 3 layers in on this in one go round, instead of having to stop and mix more resin yesterday like I had to, because I had to work quick. And this one I think went a little smoother. You can see, you can't really see, but I'm thinking over here on this side I got like 3 and 4 layers in some spots of the chop mat. So we'll let that set up before I move this, and then I think on the other panel we'll clean it up a little bit and maybe start doing some fleece. All right, I've started pulling a little bit of fleece here. Slowly taking my time here, spreading it. I've still got all the edges to do here yet. I just basically got the flat surfaces. And here, I was going to stretch this even across. But in the end, I think that it would have been too weak and too hard for me to attach with staples or whatever and make it look good. So in the end, I just went ahead and formed it into here. I think it'll be all right. I don't think it'll look that bad. I think it'll add maybe a little bit of depth to the panel and some lines to it. But we'll see once I get it resined up. I mean, worst case scenario, I could take some body filler and fill these in. That wouldn't be a whole lot to do, really. But we'll see how it goes. It just made it easier to get down in there. So I'm working on, I haven't glued this down yet, so I'm going to glue this just little sections at a time, and then I'll staple the points that I have to staple, but I'm trying not to use staples as much as I can. And I know this can roll up once you start putting a resin on it, so I'm just going to work at it one bit at a time. This one's dry, so I'll knock down some stuff on it, and then maybe I'll get it fleeced today too. We'll see. I'm starting to run out of time. I've got to get some grass cut still, and my boys got a ball game tonight, so we'll see what I get done. All right, so this one is almost wrapped. I've got it glued down the best that I can get it right now. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to let it set, see if any place has come up, roll up on me or anything like that. But I've got pretty good contour with a lot of this here. And so far I have not used one staple, which I know I'm going to have to use staples. But this is where I'm at. So I think what we're going to do is go ahead, when I do this, wrap this on around, staple this from the back side. I've done pretty good. I've got really no wrinkles, a little bit here, but some of this could be pulled out when I stretch it on around. Now my only concern is up here. Obviously I'm going to have to trim this, and I may have to staple it. If I do so, it might be in here, and then you won't, I'll get that down as best as I can, but then you won't be able to see nothing there, because the armrest is going to go here, and then over here I got to figure out what I'm going to do here. But I'm taking my sweet old time on these ones, even though we got 32 days until Slamology. But this is more than I thought I would get done today, honestly. I could work more, but the grass has got to be cut. My aunt who lives next door did a bunch of trimming already. I got to get on a tractor. We got a total of 3 acres here, so it takes me a couple 2-3 hours to mow this whole place. But that's where I'm at. I'm gonna wrap it up. Like I said, this one here is dry, so I could start the next process on it as well. But we'll see. And I seen that SprayWayCustoms, who was a master at fiberglassing door panels, dashes, rear decks, you name it. I've watched a lot of his videos. I've applied some of his techniques here. I'm not going to claim I'm anything near his level because he's a level 10. I'm a level 0.5. But you don't learn unless you do it yourself. But anyways, SprayWayCustoms, thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. I really appreciate your positive comment. If you guys ain't subscribed to him, subscribe to SprayWayCustoms. I will put a link to his channel right now. And you guys can check out his work. He does excellent, awesome work. So we're going to cut this off today. I'm going to mow. Then I got a boys' ball game to go to. And we'll see if maybe I can work on this tomorrow. Okay, I'm out here getting at it after work here today. And this is set up overnight where I had stretched the fleece and got it glued down with spray adhesive. So I thought, well, it's good and set up. I'll start tacking it down with some staples. And that's what I've done. Got a pretty cool shape here. I think it's going to look all right. But just my goddamn luck, I ran out of staples, and of all the boxes of staples I have, I don't have the correct ones. So this is all I got stapled. Is around here. I want to get a few more staples in here so I can keep this shape so this doesn't lift up. And I start putting resin on it. But as you can see, this is what I'm getting right now. So, I'm done with this damn one tonight. So, what I will do is I'll throw this in the garage here, and I'll pull the other one out, and I'll get it ready and start getting the fleece glued down on it, I suppose. Like I said, just my damn luck. God. So, this is what I'm doing now. I pulled this one out, because like I said, I was going to start stretching that fleece and getting it put on. But I noticed not all this set up for some reason. Most of it set up, but over here it's still kind of tacky in spots. So I don't know if I didn't mix the resin good enough. I thought I did. I mean, I stirred it for like 2 minutes. But anyways, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up some more chop mat, and I'm going to lay it down on the tacky areas and maybe a few other areas. And I'm going to hit it again, and I'll mix it up this time. That way I know it sets up and gets hard. Okay, so as you can see, this is the other panel. I got that chop mat all set in on the back side. Resin set up like it's supposed to this time. So now I'm moving on to going ahead and stretching and gluing the fleece on to this one. Since I'm out of staples, I can at least get this formed up the best I can, and then hopefully I can find the staples that I need. I use the I don't know what you would call them, the pointed staples. They're not just like flat regular staples. I use the pointed staples because those are the only ones that will penetrate this plastic, because I'm not fancy with the pneumatic nailer and be able to staple them in with one of those. So I have to do it the hard way, which I guess would make me appreciate doing this more. But as you can see, I'm stretching it just like I did before. I laid my fleece down, and then I folded it in half and got all the flat wood surface, half of it. Then I stretched it to where I wanted it, let it set up for a minute, and then I flip the other half back, the top half back, and then I spray the rest of the wood. Then I stretch it on up. And then after I got that, I stretched it in here to get the contour of the door handle insert. And then this little thing here, like I said, I like the way it looks. That's all that matters to me. But I mean, if I decide not to do it, I could probably fill this in with some filler, like I said on the last panel. But rather than just making them flat, I think it just break up the contour of it a little bit, give it a little bit of depth. That's where we're at now with this one, and we'll see if I can at least get it all glued and stretched to where I want it, like I did the other panel yesterday. Okay, I got this all stretched and in place, and it pretty much looks identical to the other one. Maybe a couple small variances. I got a little bit of a, I guess, wrinkle or a dimple here, but that's okay. There may be a little bit of sagging once I hit the resin on that, so I can hit that with some filler or some Rondo, which I think I'm going to try. If you haven't heard what Rondo is, SprayWayCustoms on YouTube here. I follow him, been watching a lot of his stuff. He's got a video on how to do it. I'll put a link in here of making it's a mixture of fiberglass resin and Bondo. Makes it into a consistency about like a milkshake, and then he spreads it on. So once I get this resin down and I knock down the high spots, I'm going to try to make this Rondo and coat it with that, because it's self-leveling. So once I knock down all my high spots, and then I know I'm going to have low spots in places, I could spread that across there with a brush, and like I said, it's self-leveling. It'll fill in the low spots, and from what I understand, it makes it go a lot easier and a lot smoother. I guess it's really easy to sand. So it cuts down on some of the sanding time if you get it done correctly. But here we are. This one, like I said, if I ran out of staples, I would have had the other one stapled and everything trimmed out. And it's almost ready for resin. This one's almost ready for resin, really. Get this thing stapled and trimmed out, and it's resin time. So hopefully tomorrow, it's pushing 8 o'clock now, and it acts like it's going to rain. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to start wrapping it up tonight. It's not supposed to rain tomorrow. It's supposed to start raining Thursday and then rain for 3 days. So been out here plugging away, getting as much done as I can today and tomorrow. And like I said, hopefully I can get some resin started tomorrow. At least on the other one, if I can find the staples that I need. So I will check back with you tomorrow. Okay, next day I got the staples I needed, and I got it all stapled in, and I got all my corners here done. Everything seems to be pretty tight, and I got it trimmed up the way I want it. So it's time for some resin. So I'm gonna go mix up a batch of resin. I think I'm gonna start with my usual about 16 ounces. It may or may not be enough to do this entire thing. I don't know, we'll see. But I'm gonna get it mixed up. Nothing special about it, it's just regular old resin. Get it mixed up, get a first coat on here, and as Sprayway says, I'll cut you back on. All right, so this one's all set up. It's ready for the next phase, next round, resin and Bondo and all that stuff. Now I got this one all stretched and stapled and everything where I want it. So we'll hit that next. But obviously I'm out of time tonight once again. So I ain't gonna be no more resin tonight, and tomorrow it's supposed to rain, plus my boy's got his science fair at the school tomorrow evening, so don't think I'll be able to work on it tomorrow evening, but I'll hopefully be able to hit him the night after that. So that's done, that's done. And with that being said, we're gonna call this a wrap for part 2. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing. I really appreciate all your support. If you got any comments, questions, concerns, drop it in the comments there. I try to answer it back within a few days. So I appreciate everybody watching. Make sure you watch and like me on other social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And that pretty much wraps it up for episode 2. So until next time, guys, peace on.